Good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. Just want to welcome everybody here and also just want to welcome anybody new with us. Excited to get into the markets today, see if we can make some pips. I guess for some of you, it's not the morning, right? Guess it could be the afternoon or evening, right? But I guess for most of us, it's probably the morning. But let's go ahead and get started. As always, I need to remind you guys about the risks involved in the market. You can lose all or more than your initial investment if you're not careful. So please be aware of how many pips you're risking on each trade, as well as how big your lot size is, and ultimately how that would affect your account if you were to lose money. So make sure that you're going through that process each and every time that you take a trade, just to protect your account. All right, guys, so there's not a lot of news. Excuse me. I was up late watching those elections last night. There's not a lot of news, which is a good thing for the bankers close, right? Other than, we had elections, but we don't typically trade the dollar anyway at the London close. So we'll be mainly focusing on the pound franc, euro pound, and euro franc. There is some dollar news tomorrow, but it looks like today's a pretty clean day as far as news goes. So I'm going to go ahead, let me go ahead and pull up my charts here, and let's hop down to a 15-minute, or excuse me, a 5-minute, and then let's go see where everything's lining up. I think I saw the euro franc getting pretty close to lining up here. Let's take a look for the banker's close. Okay, so not quite. We need it to come down a little bit more for us to feel comfortable with it. Euro pound technically is lining up, or is pretty close to. You can see that right there. It's near the upper Bollinger Band. And then you've got the pound franc as well, doing something similar to that pair. This has fallen off a cliff. This pound franc has. So one other thing to be aware of too is looking at the order flow that we talked about yesterday when we're observing these pairs. So if you look at an hourly chart, the euro franc actually has quite a bit of support, and there's a lot of buyers down here, institutional buyers. So I wouldn't necessarily, so basically what I'm saying is if we got a signal to buy, I think I would go ahead and do that if I saw a really nice buy opportunity. If you conversely look at, say, the euro pound, it's mostly been institutional buyers pushing this up. In fact, you just recently had an institutional push right here on this spike up. So that's not done yet. And I wouldn't feel comfortable selling unless, we got up into this area or beyond even. So that one, I need to see more of a push up before I would feel comfortable. Let's look at, here, one second. I'm going to pull up my other profile on my other screen so I can see if there's anything else lining up today. I guess the Aussie franc is lining up, and there's a few others lining up, but I just want to see and make sure that those would be a good idea. Okay, so I showed you this one, it's far away from any support or resistance that institutions are buying or selling at. So that one's kind of a tough one. This one is probably even worse. So the pound franc, obviously institutions have been selling it today and yesterday, pushing it lower. And it looks like they're going to keep going. Like they don't, on this hourly time frame, they really don't have a lot of buyers in here. And they really don't have buyers until you get down to here. So that one, if anything, you'd want to keep selling, but it would not be a banker's close opportunity, in my opinion. So I'm going to look at some other options. Let's see this Aussie franc. Technically, on my other scanner over here, it looks like it's lining up, but it has a little bit more support to get to. But it's getting close. Like, if it popped into here, my guess is you'd probably see a little bit of a move up. So that could be a better option. We actually traded that one on Friday last week, if you guys remember. Also, the CAD franc has a little bit of a lineup, but has a little bit more to go in terms of finding institutional support. So I may wait on that one. Let's see what else. The pound CAD. That one actually came in. This one recently just came in to some support here, some institutional support, and then came right back up. That's interesting to see. And let's take a look at the pound Aussie. That one also came in and came back up. That's a good sign. You know, if we see a lot of pounds doing that, I wonder if we can find an opportunity like that. Looks like they're all bouncing off right now, so it's kind of late on some of those. It's kind of surprised. I took a long on the NZD franc last night, and then it actually went against us, which was surprising because there was a lot of institutional support, which is still there. Like, you know, it probably is going to pop back up, which I may re-enter to try to get that back if the signal is still strong. But like, for example, this guy is running into a lot of these support levels too. So I mean, I feel like this is pretty close to finding its not bottom necessarily, but it's going to find some support here soon. All right, so I like that. Let's see, what else do we like? I said Aussie franc is coming in pretty close, not quite there. In fact, let's see, let's go to a 15-minute. On the 15-minute, doesn't really look like there's support really close by, unless you get down into here, there's quite a bit. But I'm gonna wait on that guy just a little bit. Let's go back to the hourly. And I'm not opposed to that Euro franc. We just need it to set up. Again, if you go back to the Euro franc, oops, here we go. We're basically in a buy box right now. I was so tempted to short this last night. I kind of wish I did. Obviously, you know, it was right up here and a lot of sell order blocks were up here. I was really tempted to buy that or sell that last night. I wish I had, but oh well, we'll get the next one. But it is currently in a buy order block. So yes, if it continued to drop and we got that lower Bollinger Band, yeah, so thing I did say that just barely. Yeah, I did lose that NZD franc. I'll just have to update everybody. Yeah, I did hit my stop loss on that, but I think I might re-enter like I mentioned earlier, because there's still a strong signal there. So anyway, just be ready for that because I think I may just re-enter. Anyway, I just showed you that chart on that one. Maybe you mentioned that comment earlier, but yeah, I just showed you that chart. And it looks like there's still a lot of buyers at those levels, so I'll probably re-enter. All right, so yeah, this Euro franc is probably the best banker's close opportunity out of the normal currency pairs that you and I trade. That's what I'm thinking. But it still hasn't had a lower Bollinger Band on the 5-minute touch yet. So still kind of waiting on it. Just because we haven't had that true signal set up yet. Trying to find anything else that would be really good. Like I said, I like the pound CAD if it were to come back down again. Yeah, if it were to come back down again, there's a lot of stuff that could prop that trade up. Yeah, and so here's that NZD franc. It busted through several support levels last night, but it's come back into a lot of institutional support. Again, sorry, I was up late last night, so my voice is kind of weird. And so, I do believe that you'll see a move back up from here. I don't think this is the type of thing where it's like, oh, hey, I moved down and now we're down for forever. That would be kind of crazy. There are so many buyers in here. I don't think they're about ready to let um their buys go to waste. In fact, let me see. Um, it's being kind of weird. Let me go back to that Kiwi franc. That's just the 15-minute. Yeah, so yeah, this is going to be a good re-entry. Um, and then what else was I going to say about this? Um, well, it could be a banker's close opportunity. It's not quite set up for it. And again, I would like to trade one of our favorite pairs for the London close if we can. Let's see here. Trying to find. Like I said, I wish we had bought the pound. That's okay though. Because we're a little late to that one. Not the pound franc, but there were some other pound currencies that looked really good. Um, yeah, and anything's on the table because there's really no news. This guy held a lot. This guy held pretty well here. This Euro franc or Euro CAD makes me think it's gearing up for a move to the upside. And yes, if you pull up the Euro franc over here on this other chart, you'll see it's not quite lined up yet. Like it hasn't hit a lower Bollinger Band in the hour or an upper Bollinger Band. Um, I would probably look to just buy this guy because there is a lot of support if um yeah, if it pulls back, there's a ton of buyers down here. And so that's why I'd feel more comfortable buying than I would selling. But we will see. We will see. Okay, what about the CAD franc? That one's also kind of lining up. It's just not, it just hasn't really come into a lot of support yet. I guess I guess it could come into here and you'd find a lot of support. So could buy that one, which is would be kind of early to it. Um, yeah, yeah, right here. So 20 pips away, you'd find a lot of help in the market there on that CAD franc. let's see here. The other one that I've been working on, this is another one that I'm taking on my own account, this Aussie CAD. If you look at it on the hourly, yeah, it just barely bumped into this and it got rejected. And so it came right off that buy block right there. So I feel good about this one. For like an intraday scalp, 50 pips back up to this level. Let's see, just looking, just waiting. It really, the only reason why we haven't done much yet is just because we're waiting for that 5-minute chart Bollinger Band hit, which this is actually getting closer. And again, you need to have that for a banker's close opportunity. And we still have 45 minutes before we'd get the next banker's close set up. So yeah, I'm just waiting for either the upper or lower Bollinger Band to hit, preferably the lower, because like I said, I can make a better case for a market move back to the median if it were to come lower. What I'm saying by that is basically if this comes lower, hits that lower Bollinger Band, and even goes a little bit lower than that, there's a much better argument that you could make that says that this could come back up to here, type of thing, or even come back up to here, before the end of the day, which would be a classic banker's close opportunity. And so that's what I am trying to get here. Again, we need that to break a little lower. We did have a lot of bigger moves earlier today. The Euro franc came down. We saw the NZD franc came down pretty hard. And so what happens is when you get those bigger moves, the Bollinger Bands kind of expand. They kind of widen away from each other. And so it takes a little more work to get a signal opportunity than, say, if it were just markets just kind of doing whatever. It's just kind of slowing, slow move up, slow move down. The Bollinger Bands tighten in that circumstance. So that's why we haven't had an immediate signal, the moment we came into the class today. This is one of those days where you have to wait a little bit longer, be a little more patient in the hour to find that really nice trigger opportunity. And it's getting close. That Euro franc, if it makes one more break lower, one more bar down, we'd have an opportunity to get in. And like I said, the other one that's lining up pretty much right now is this CAD franc. This would be technically a quick scalp buy type of thing. So with this, you could get in now, but again, it looks like from the analysis that we just did on this, it looks like the institutions are buying, they start to buy like right here. So, honestly, that could come down to here before you'd see some help. That's why I haven't bought that one. I'm just kind of waiting. But yeah, that's hitting the lower Bollinger Band right now. So from a classical standpoint, yes, it is a setup. And yeah, if you're willing to tango with it 20 plus pips, I think maybe that's a good trade. So, your options are it either goes in your favor right away, which is not as likely. The more likely scenarios, it continues against you. And then later, type of thing, you get that move up. Which we could do that. Like we could just go with that guy. Again, my preference is to try to trade one of our favorite pairs like the euro franc, euro pound, or pound franc. Take a look. There's that cat again. Okay, I'm gonna put, this is not even a starter position, it's just a position, really small position to buy the euro franc here. I just want to be in the market because we are in a buy order block at this last hour of the day. And I do think you're going to get a move back up to test these highs right here. In fact, I'll put another trade in. And then, yeah, if we do get that bar down, I'll put in the full starter position. And then as it continues lower, if it continues lower, then you're in a really, really good spot, is in terms of where the banks are buying this and stuff like that. So I probably would perhaps increase the stake a little bit. I'm going to put just one last trade in there. You're also at, if you look back on the chart on the higher time frame, you're at some really tremendous support in addition to where the banks have bought here, and there's no news. So the fact that there's no news and you're at some tremendous support on the higher time frame, you got buy order blocks. I'd say it'd be really difficult for this market to really make a big push to the downside. And if it did, I feel like that's a bargain. Yeah, that looks fine. Looks great. In fact, I'm going to put one more in. Okay, cool. And then let's draw out some of these levels. If it were to drop, how far are we looking? So in the past, on this kind of smaller time frame, we do have some history of coming into this actually right there, obviously, and then we have some history right here, and then right down here would be the other thing to be aware of. So yeah, in the most immediate front, this market could definitely pull into, here, here, or here. And that's, max 26 pips away. But I do actually really let me look at the 15-minute real quick. I'm gonna buy one more. I like just kind of run into what's called a banker's candle right over here, in addition to all of the things that we just talked about. So Yeah, looks good to me. So I'm gonna, just start, got a little bit of a starter position in, and then, if it does can, break lower, we have our levels drawn out. So these levels down here are the levels where you'd feel more comfortable buying a little bit more, scaling into the trade just a little bit more, here, here, and here. And we'll make that our trade for the day, our scalp today. And then, yeah, so in the meantime, another thing too, while we're waiting on this, we can recap a little bit more in more detail that Kiwi Franc swing trade that hit its stop last night. I mean, like I said, I'm probably going to re-enter it just because I feel pretty good about where we're at, even though this thing did pull back quite a bit. Um, it did pull back into a lot of institutional buys, though. I wasn't expecting this move necessarily, and I am glad that we did stop out because we'd be down worse if we didn't stop out. So I am glad that we did take the L when we did. Um, One thing that I think maybe we could do better, and I might do this with the reentry, is instead of just buying right away, we wait for a little confirmation. And so we enter on a buy stop order because I just did, at market. Um, what I can do this time is say, okay, hey, we know we still want to buy this. We know that's still a valid entry, or excuse me, a valid signal. What we do instead is we wait for, something like a bust in the, this high right here. Um, Let me zoom in. Like a bust in the candlestick body high. You could go all the way up to the wicks up here or something like that up here. But either way, it doesn't necessarily matter a ton how we enter, just rather saying, hey, if it breaks to a new high again, or hey, if it looks like it's coming back up, we'll go ahead and buy into that and then hold, because it still is a really good buy. Um, and then what that does is if the market for some reason wants to continue lower, you're not in the trade. It's just a no trade, which I'd be very surprised if it did that. Again, there's a lot of liquidity built in and buys built in to this market here. So I'd be pretty surprised, to be honest, if yeah, I'd be pretty surprised if it wanted to continue lower. I really would be without any type of resistance to the upside. That would be surprising. So I'll probably send that one out just kind of after the webinar. Same thing. I'll recap the trade that lost, and then show you the re-entry type of thing. But yeah, let's head back over to our Euro franc. It's just being slow so far and really not a lot of movement, which is fine. In fact, I'll go to a 1-minute chart. And again, these are the areas where we'll be adding to the trade. It's all throughout this area. So have enough gunpowder, have enough in your arsenal there to be able to work with this trade. If it has to come down to here, or if it has to come down to here, or even here, those I'm willing to work this trade all the way in that level. We know that this is a very strong level in terms of, I mean, it's one of the strongest in terms of the higher time frame. Looking at the hourly, maybe even 2-hour chart, it's a very strong level. We have confirmation with the order blocks too. We're at the end of the day with no news, right? When you add all those things together, it's like, yeah, at some point, if this thing wants to break lower, call BS on that move because it is a BS move. And, at some point you're going to get a really nice clean move to the upside. The question is it going to be a move? Is it going to be right away, or is it going to, be something like this, or like this, or like this? One of those is pretty much what's going to happen. So. And we're just waiting. I always do this. I need to go back and draw those lines out. I like to draw my charts quite a bit. If you haven't noticed. Yeah, and it is going to be slow just because, there is no news. And again, that's a good thing for us. Ultimately, that's a good thing. I like to draw this out. So this is the beginning of the hour, and then this is the end of the hour right here, just for reference. It's kind of nice to see. All right, it's doing a little bit of something here. We'll see what it see if it follows through. Let's see, which was the trade we took yesterday? Was I'm trying to remember. I think it was the euro pound, or what was it that we traded yesterday? Let me take a look. I've already forgotten what we took yesterday. Does anybody remember what was our banker's close trade yesterday? Was it the euro pound? I think it was the euro pound. Wanted to take a look at that one real quick because I think this is going to do something similar to what that one did, unless you guys tell me it wasn't the euro pound. But yesterday, the trade we took in the webinar was this guy. Yep, here it is. Now, in hindsight, you're like, why didn't I hang on forever, right? Because you'd be up so much more. But, I don't know how you would have known that. But here's the beginning of the hour right here. And here is the end of the hour right here, right? So we got a signal to buy the euro pound in the banker's close hour right there. Boom. Right. That was super nice. Got, lower Bollinger Band in the hour, no news associated with the pair. We had a buy order block, similar to this exact same trade we're taking on the euro franc. And we bought, and actually, I think we also bought pretty early too, like back here, if I recall. Um, I could be wrong, but we closed out some early, like we took some buys and then we took some profits. It came back down. We bought a little more down here, and then it started coming back up, right? And basically, most of our profits were made on the fade back up. Like my best trade made 16 or 17 pips. So about right here, from here to here, was our most profitable trade. Obviously now you're like, dang, we literally bought right there. Why didn't we hang on for 110 pips or 123? You don't know that you've got something that good on those days. I'm just trying to create income every day with the banker's close. Like every day I'm trying to end the day with income. And so for me, I look at my risk and my reward and the edge that we've created, and I say, hey, this is good. I got what I was looking for on that move. Obviously, we closed out several trades for 10 pips each when we got to that mid Bollinger Band right there. And so, I'm looking at the euro franc right now, trying to do the exact same thing. It looks like it's starting to go in our favor. We're in a buy order block, no news. We didn't quite get the lower Bollinger Band touch, but I felt good with how close it was. And um, end of the day type of move. And so I suspect with this euro franc um, that we'll at least get to our target here. And then it could be one of those things where it's like the euro pound, where it just kind of fades to the upside the rest of the day. So I could see us forming a base down here, and it just kind of floats up the rest of the day, which is why I think I would like to keep maybe a trade to run a little longer, close all these out when we get back up to this resistance. We'll take most of our profits there, but then I'll leave a trade to run. Maybe we can get that extra 23 pips out of this move. But yeah, it does look like it's starting to make a little run for it, which is really nice. Nice to see that. We'll see if it can finish off here. All right, it's about halfway to its target. So we'll see if it can finish do what it needs to do. There's really not a lot to talk about. I feel like we talked about everything. Unless you guys have questions, if you have questions, obviously that's priority. We'll talk about your questions and answer those for you. Just so slow. So slow. What I'm doing right now, as well as I'm looking at other currency pair, other options to trade. Um, just looking for other swing trades that you and I could take based off of, order flow and depth of market type of things. So found a couple. I'm just looking on my other screen here while I'm waiting for that Euro franc. I didn't want to step away from it. To, I don't want to step away from it just because it is looking like it's lining up here to either follow through and be done, or it'll just return back to its range here. And both of those are on the table. I don't know which one it's going to do. Found another one that I kind of like. Not sure about it yet though, but I'm thinking about it as a swing trade. It's this Euro Kiwi, just real quick. I've been eyeing this one for days. Like, if you look at this support down here, you have to go back pretty far. I guess not too far. I guess you have to go back to September to find where this all began. And yeah, you can see kind of the activity, the breaks in structure, how it broke in structure back here, and then conversely how it lined up over here is really nice. Like they're very similar to each other. The way the market just came in here and said, yep, let's go back up. So I have a feeling that this may continue higher, this Euro Kiwi on this hourly time frame, especially too, if you think about it, markets like to return back to volume wherever volume was, and this is where volume was at its hottest, was up here. And so we've got institutional buyers willing to do a lot of buys down here, willing to purchase this in these levels, trying to bring this back up. And then you've got right up here, you've got this old volume. And again, markets like to return to that. So, I look at this and I'm like, this could be a pretty good little trade. I mean little trade, I mean it's a monster trade, right? Like if it goes back to the volume that I'm indicating up here, that's 330 pips away. It would take several weeks, a couple weeks to get there, but it does appear to be lining up. And it's one of those things where the drawdown opportunity, like the drawdown would be really low because it's already curved back up. So if, for example, if it wanted to pull back at this point, you can afford to have a tighter stop loss because it really shouldn't be pulling back. If it does, you might as well cut that loss early. And so you'll preserve a lot of capital if, on a trade like this. And so that's why I'm kind of interested in this one as well. Anyway, we've got some options. I'll play around with it and kind of make a game plan for you guys. And I'll kind of let you know which one, or I'll even give you a couple of them to trade. But I really like that one. I've been watching that one for like a week now, that Euro Kiwi, and I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't just bite the bullet and buy into it a week ago. Um, but it looks like it's still a very, very valid opportunity. And we're just waiting on our Euro Franc here, right? Our bankers close trade. We're up 18, 16 pips on this. And, it's still above our entries, but hasn't really found that follow through just yet to the upside. And so we'll just have to wait. We'll have to wait on that. Let me go to a 1-minute chart. There we go. All right, so just waiting right here, really slow 1-minute candlesticks. You can see how small these are. I mean, just 1 pip candlesticks, right? Really slow. Pretty soon we'll get a move higher here, like or lower, it doesn't matter. Um, I just don't think you can go at some point you have to have a breakout in that little range there. So it's going to be a break of this top right here, or it's going to break, this low right here. One of those things is going to happen soon. And again, if it breaks lower, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. Especially because, I do think this is going to be like yesterday, the euro pound, where it's just going to be one of those things where you, you're holding it through the banker's close hour, and then, um, it's most of the action actually kind of happens after the hour. Again, for those of you that are kind of new, when you're trading the banker's close, the entry is always inside the hour, right? You're always inside the banker's close hour. So basically in 10 minutes, London closes, right? And so we're looking for opportunities up to an hour before London closes for basically an opportunity to buy something back to the median, right? And so our idea here was, hey, this thing has come down here. Let's see if we can buy this up, um, back to a median for the rest of the day. And sometimes, like yesterday, it just goes on. It's the new low of the day or the low of the week or the high of the week or high of the day, and it just keeps on going the other way. I do believe that we've got a good level down here. If I do believe that the market's going to, even if it comes down right now, ultimately over the next several hours, it will find its way back to the upside. It'll drift back up. And that's where our money's going to be made, is on that drift back to the upside. And so, just be, that's why I'm a buyer instead of a seller on this. We don't have news. It's pulled back today. Obviously we're in a buyer's order block, an institutional buyer order block right now. So when you add all those things together, like we've already said multiple times, it just makes sense to be a buyer on this today. And so I will hold this throughout the rest of the morning if we need to. So we've got a few minutes, which, by the way, let's go ahead, since we're pretty close to the end of the hour, let's go ahead and start adjusting these stop losses. I don't do a lot with the stop loss while we're in the webinar, just because, I'm here with you guys, right? I'm here watching the trade. But since all of us are going to go off and do our separate things today, but this trade is meant to continue throughout, the next couple of hours, maybe several hours, we need to have some stop losses in place that are, where the risk management makes more sense, right? So at this point, we're probably not going to add to the trade more unless we get in the next 8 minutes, it drops a ton. If it drops a ton in the next 8 minutes, I'd probably like to grab a few more trades before I let it go. So where would we want to stop out on this? Well, there's a couple of things you can do to stop out. The most traditional thing to do to stop out is if you pull up maytaf.net, right? So I'll just pull up another browser here, go to maytaf.net. I'll put this link in the chat box for those of you that want it. This is one of the greatest tools ever in trading. So you come here to this tool, you can search any currency pair you're trading. In this case, we're trading the Euro franc. You can click on it. And this tool over here on the right, there's a couple of them, will tell you the volatility by hour of the day, the average high to average low, so ATR by hour of the day. And then this one will show you the ATR by day of the week, which is really cool. So we're on Wednesday. So the average ATR on the Euro franc is 68 pips. And so if I take a calculator, I like to use a fourth of the average daily range as my stop loss. So 68 divided by 4, you'd be looking at a 17 pips stop loss to leave the trade from here on out. So I'd come down 17 pips, something like this. Yeah, something like right here would be the best stop loss. Just because the market at this point in the day should not be making massive new lows. Of course it can, but it shouldn't be making those significant lows. That opportunity, the time for the market to do that has passed. It should have done so already. So that would be my stop loss right there. Again, I'm not a big fan of placing your stop loss just behind a support level or just behind a resistance. Why? Because banks know that, and other traders know that, and they're going to try to stop you out. And so I like to take the approach of, hey, let's work with the ATR, what does the market normally give us in a day? Okay, let's move with that rather than trying to pick a level or something like that. Because when you pick those levels, I feel like the market just wants to go to those levels, and then it, of course, it just goes in your favor as soon as you're stopped out. So that takes that out of the equation when you're just looking at the ATR for a stop loss. So that's where I'm going to put my stops for the day, 17 pips from the current price. And then these trades let ride to this old resistance right here. I mean, when I say old, it was like formed an hour or two ago. And then I'm going to leave one trade on as a big rider. Now, if we hit our targets, or when we hit our targets right here, and we have one trade left, feel free to bring that stop loss to break even on the other trade, because at that point you're so profitable and you're so far away from the break even and your stop loss that you might as well just bring it to break even at that point. I wouldn't feel too comfortable bringing our stop losses to break even right now, even though we're positive, just because we're pretty close to our entries. And I wouldn't put it past the market to kind of maybe come down a little bit more and then fade up type of thing. This is definitely a possibility today. So I want to give it a little room to do something like that if it needs to. But nonetheless, you guys will get an update from me in Telegram, letting you know how this trade is panned out from where we are now. And I will probably send out, not probably, I will be sending out some other signals that are more swing oriented. So be ready for those. And I will be recapping the Kiwi Franc. And I'll let you know if we re-enter that one. I actually saw some other trades while we were sitting here that may look a little better than even that guy. So I may just take the L, take the loss on that one trade, and then just move on to the next one type of thing. But I'll let you guys know on Telegram. So, all right. Well, it was awesome to see you guys. Also fun to see some new faces in the webinar. It's great to have you guys here. Also wanted to give a shout out to everybody in the recording. Thanks for coming, to you guys as well. And we'll see you. See, tonight I have COT report. So if you guys want to come to the COT report webinar, fantastic, come to that. Other than that, we'll see you guys either tonight or tomorrow in our next live trading session. Thanks for coming, guys.